fun matchup on Tuesday night. Two big brands. The first half was competitive. The second half was not. Final score, number 6, Duke 75, Texas 60. So John Shire, if you're keeping track, that's career win number 90. Sean Miller, 0-1 so far at UT. I guess the main storyline, Norlander, is that 5-star forward Cam Boozer didn't score until the second half, but still finished with 15 points, 13 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists, and a block. Good to see you on this Wednesday morning. What'd you make of what we saw for the Blue Devils last night?
Good morning, GP. Good to see you as well. Yeah, plenty to get to, but we'll go with the most recent result, which was it was a fine enough game. It actually, I think, game flow wise, was about what I expected. Texas did put up some resistance. We'll open on Boozer, then we can dive into just a little bit more elsewhere. Boozer. It was actually stark to come off of everything that Koa Pete did on Monday. And then you got another guy who plays a very similar position. What's Boozer going to do against Texas? And just nothing in the first 20 minutes. 0 points, 3 boards. He still finishes with 15 and 13 anyway. This will probably be, if things go the way we think they're going to go with Boozer this season, this will probably be among his 6 or 7 worst games, and he's still at 15 and 13. He's still at 15 and 13, which is outrageous. But, he was much more assertive in the second half. Isaiah Evans was the most important player on the floor for Duke last night, which I thought was an important development. He had a career-high 23 points. He did it on 7 of 13 shooting, by the way, showing out right near where he grew up as is, and I think that is important. Boozer will be the team's, or it should be the team's best player, but as I said on HQ, I did a Tuesday night hit after the game went final. I actually think Duke's barometer is probably going to be along the lines of how Isaiah Evans goes. That's probably how Duke's going to go, because you're almost certainly going to get just the stat stuffing from Boozer on a nightly basis. Can Evans be the guy that can be efficient, that can be a really, really good three-point shooter, that can be a guy that if they feel like they need to get 25 plus from him, he's capable of doing that. How he works within the offense. I know they have huge, high expectations for him there as well. So, those are my kind of dual takeaways. By the way, Duke 6-0 all-time versus Texas, and Duke is now won 27 games in a row to start its season. If you listen to the last show, I told you the last time they lost, that was against Stanford back in 1999. So Duke is accustomed to opening with the W, and it does so for the 27th season in a row.
If you remember earlier in the week when we talked on the pod for an hour and 45 minutes.
That was a good time. I loved it.
It was a good time. You gave me an over-under on Cam Boozer double-doubles. I don't remember what the number was, but like
there's 26 and a half or 27 and a half.
I was like, I'll take the over. I mean, unless he'd have said like 41, I'd have probably still taken the over, right? So, and last night was evidence of why. I mean, it's 0 points with 19:31 left in the game and still finished with 15 and 13. That's his first double-double as a Blue Devil. It was interesting in the post-game press conference. He was asked about his first half. He said, obviously, the first half was rough. But Coach Shire called me out and said I was playing soft, which was true. And then I got going in the second half. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what we've been dealing with down here in Memphis, but it was interesting to see a star player.
I am aware.
It was interesting to see a star player get called out at halftime by his coach and flourish in the final 20 minutes, as opposed to just shut it completely down and then pop off in the post game. It was just interesting to see that in Charlotte last night.
That was for sure. I did see those quotes as well. I actually would love to be on a fly on the wall and see like how hard it's game one. How hard did Shire go at Boozer? But Shire's got,
he was like, I knew I should have taken Debansa.
Yes. I don't think it was something like that, although that would have been hilarious. But regardless,
0 points in the first half. What is your NIL deal? Get AJ on the phone. I think it was probably something like that.
Incredible if so. For Duke winning the game, 2 runs basically solidified it, because Texas actually had the lead by 1 at the break, and at that point I was like, okay, maybe we'll have a little bit of something here with Texas. Modest Vokatitis, he actually had some. He really could be a guy for Texas this season. 7-footer, unafraid. Went at it. Texas, it felt like, missed 15 bunnies in this game, by the way, which also wasn't helpful. But for Duke, they opened the second half on a 10-0 run. And then later, with like from the 9-minute mark to about 7.5 to go, they went on another run, like an 8-0 run that broke it open to an 11-point game. That's really how they got the separation. Texas only scored 60 in this game, just 27 after the break. And Texas didn't even score for the first 5 minutes of the second half. So that's really how they pulled away. It's a good sign from a defensive standpoint. Like, Texas is still going to take some time to kind of put the pieces together. I had him just barely inside my top 35 to start the season. GP had him just barely inside his top 25 to start the season. We'll see. Tremont Mark was not nearly a factor, and he's going to have to be one. Jordan Pope had some nice moments. But at least, Sean Miller's first game, as I mentioned on the previous show, house money situation. You're not expected to win. You're playing in Charlotte. They couldn't get it done, but at least they kept it interesting. They kind of made it a scrappy deal for about the first 75% of the game. And then my last take on the game in general was having nothing to do with the teams, just the event. It took until 2025, which is probably, frankly, about 15 years too late for Dick Vitale to actually have an in-season event named after him. Good on ESPN and everyone involved in that for just doing it. The man deserves it. We are doing it while he is not only still alive, able to call the actual event named in his honor. So plans moving forward are to do this on a yearly basis, of course, and he deserves it. If there's really one person that embodies the enthusiasm, the spirit of college basketball, it is Dick Vitale. Anyone that has come after Dick Vitale, that has been in the media, that has shown, a propensity for high-end enthusiasm and just cheery-eyed optimism for what college basketball can be. In a small way, I consider myself a part of that group. But we all owe a huge debt of gratitude to Dick Vitale, who is the most important media member in the history of college basketball. And so he was owed something like this. Glad that he was able to experience it. Jay Billis on the call, Dave O'Brien on the call as well. And so I just wanted to give credit to them. What needs to be one and done, in addition to Cam Boozer, is the court. It was hideous. Take that court and toss it into the Atlantic Ocean. Get that thing out of here. Hideous court, but everything else about it was tremendous.
This might be hard for younger people to understand, but there was a point in time in college basketball where I think you could reasonably argue Dick Vitale was the face of the sport. We had Bob Knight and we had Mike Krzyzewski and Rick Pitino and whatever, but you could reasonably argue Dick Vitale was the face of the sport. For instance, right now, if ESPN or CBS, anybody, is coming to broadcast a game in an arena on a campus, do people, students, fans immediately, first question, who's going to be on the call? I don't know that is really a thing anymore, Yeah. But with Dick Vitale, it was like, oh, this game this weekend, it's on ESPN. Is Dickie V coming? That was like a part of the conversation. Just an incredible ambassador of the sport, in many ways the face of the sport, and just, as we've talked about a million times, a sweetheart of a man who has really endured with a brave and positive face, incredible health issues in recent years. But it was just awesome to see him. It's the second night of the season. There was Dick Vitale on TV last night. Like, me and my wife just sit there and watch, and she doesn't know Dick. She was aware of him, but she doesn't know him. But she loves him just because of what she's seen and what I've told her. And so we got to watch that together, and it was sweet. And I appreciate the point you made. We don't have to wait till people are gone to give them their flowers, to give them those moments. And yes, credit to ESPN and anybody else who could have possibly been involved for making that happen last night, because it was a high-profile basketball game early in the season. I'll take that every year, but it also was an opportunity to shine a bright light on a man who has meant an immense amount to this sport.